guys, I'm so excited to be reading one of my favorite fractured fairy tales with you today. It's called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. I want you, as we're reading, to be thinking about what makes this similar to the original version and how is this different. Everybody knows the story of the three little pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf, and you can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad, too. So I want you to think about the perspective of this book. Who is telling this story? And why are they telling this story? What is the wolf trying to say? But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. Sneeze plus sugar. This is the real story. And I love it's like sort of a ransom note, taking all of those letters. I love how the illustrator and the author work together. Way back, once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar. So we're supposed to sympathize with the wolf. All he wanted to do was make a cake for Granny, a birthday cake. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, "Little pig, little pig, are you in?" No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on while I huffed and I snuffed. And you know the next part. And I sneezed a great sneeze. Achoo. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw. So I ate him up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger, just lying there. Wouldn't you eat it up? So I love how the wolf is trying to convince us of his version of the story. I'm wondering if he is going to convince you that this is the truth, or do you believe the original story, or is the truth somewhere else? I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house out of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Ding dong. Nobody answered. I called, "Yoo-hoo! Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled back, "Go away, wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs of my chinny chin chin." So rude. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. Achoo! And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. Do you believe it? I don't know if I do yet. When the dust cleared, there was a second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. I love this. I don't know if you can see the N in now is made of sausages. Now you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and the second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, "Yoo-hoo! Mr. Pig! Mr. Pig! Are you in?" And do you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, Wolf! Don't bother me again." Talk about impolite. Probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear, sweet Granny's birthday cake. What a pig! I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Achoo! Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." I beg your pardon? So this house didn't blow down, not with the sneeze because it was made out of straw, but what a rude little piggy. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down that pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real big scene. So why do you think the police showed up? You think the pig called 911? And what are the police and all the reporters going to say? What does this look like? The rest, as they say, is history. That's the front page of the newspaper. Big bad wolf. He's been framed, he thinks. All he was doing was just sneezing, trying to get a little sugar. But oh my, he looks like he's such a big and bad wolf. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down. And they made me into the big, bad wolf. That's it. The real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. The end.